Know them way there. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another show. That's right. You are here with your host, My Stiggy, with something you might not never know nothing about. And I got my co-host here, Dan DNA, aka Dan Dolph. You know what I mean? The Dan
That's it.
Gorgon.
I'm in.
That's it. You're in, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Danis Baratheon at times. You don't see him on the camera when
It depends what I'm
Baratheon.
doing, doesn't it? It's the Danis Baratheon's like with the moody,
Yeah.
like the moody. What I could have been king.
You just want to get your
That's-
stuff back.
Yeah.
That's when your Danis Baratheon. Like, really, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, man. Welcome back, man. Good to see you lot. All the chat room crew, of course, the uncommon senses, as always, man. Big up to my brother Blue Fliggy, my brother Robbie Love, my brother King Chico. I see Boom Bap Sorcerer up in here. My brother Black Einstein. Jeez. My sis Liz Williams. Yes. Tempest Elixir in the building. What's going on? All right. We're just getting started, getting warmed up. Do you know what I mean? Let me get the roll call in early because I do feel bad sometimes I don't get the roll call out. Especially after last week, we had a 420 special with our brothers, John ZD and Mem DVG, man. And yo, if you missed that show, please go back and listen. You know, if you celebrate 420, I want to apologize, you know, just in case you find out some things that you shouldn't have, you wish you didn't. But, you know, this is what we're here to do, is talk the talk that people don't want to walk, you know what I mean? That's what we do right here. Something you might never know nothing about, as I said. And before we go any further, we got to give a big shout out to the cmossboss.co.uk because, you know, we got to make sure people out there are supplemented with the right type of foods, the right type of minerals, the right type of nutrients. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't be doing what we're here supposed to, like, you know what I mean? What we're supposed to do. This is like spread the knowledge, man. Let people know. I am a prime example, I can say, of someone who's benefited from sea vegetables, whether it be dulse, the wakame, you know what I mean, the kelp, what else, spirulina. Yeah, and this is the thing. People got to realize I wasn't into spirulina before. I was like, nah, I don't know about all that. Dr. Sabi's like, spirulina is not good. You know what I mean? So you're like, okay. But then you start to find out there are different types of spirulina. There's spirulina grown here, grown there, and depending on where it's grown and how it's grown, it could be very beneficial, very high in protein and whatnot. And so we've learned over the years that, you know, sometimes they could put out certain information on superfoods that might not be true. So it is always up to us to try and find out for ourselves. As I say, do your due diligence. Don't believe me. Don't believe the hype at all. Just go out there and look for yourself and you'll find out. And then the other thing is you can test it for yourself. Do you know what I mean? If you can be bothered to do that. That's one thing I did. And when I noticed, I realized like, wow, back in the day when I thought I was buying sea moss and making it and it was, you know, supposed to be good for me, but I didn't really do much. It wasn't a good sea moss. It's like that dry stuff that you get in the local halal shop type thing. You know what I mean? That's
they sell it in cans in Sainsbury's in the Jamaican section.
Can't see this. You know what I mean?
That ain't gonna be as good as that ain't gonna be as good as this one.
It's a joke, man. And so all these different various sea vegetables are available at the cmossboss.co.uk and contain vitamins and minerals such as manganese, copper, chromium, zinc, vitamins A, B1, B2, B3, B6, B12, C and E. That's dose right there. Jeez. Then you got things like the wakame, which is high in vitamins A, B2, C, D, and K. What I'm getting at basically is, you know, you get yourself a nice variation of different sea vegetables. And these are all wild-crafted, organic as well. They're not like taught how to grow or nothing like that. It's like, bruv, do you, man. Hang on to whatever you got. Hang on.
It's not battery sea moss.
Nah, it's not no battery sea moss. They ain't quaxinated sea moss. You know what I mean? Ain't no GMO moss, nothing like that. Just pure and natural, straight from the coast of Donegal. You know what I mean? The wild Atlantic way, which we've been hearing about. Not many people knew that there's a lot of fish around that area as well. There are a lot of a mass amount of like UK fishing happens around that way, around the coast, because the waters are clear, the waters are clean. You know, because they're moving waters. There's not as much pollution around there. Yeah, I mean, more proof. But you look into it yourselves anyway. But make sure if you do get yourself any form of sea vegetables, especially things like the sea moss gel, the dulse and whatnot, bladderwrack, then get yourself to the seamossboss.co.uk, and when you get to the checkout, make sure you type in about 20. That's ABOUT in uppercase and the number 20, and you'll get yourself 20% off any order. Mother lovers. I felt like doing a little Irish dance there, but
we need a little graphic of you doing an Irish jig across the bottom of the screen while you're doing it.
Yeah,
that's like a time.
That'll be a meme right there, boy. That'll get me in trouble out there. I was wearing the high socks as well. Yeah, man, but I'm telling you, my nail's come off now. The nail that was broken is finally off. It looks kind of weird, the finger, but it's amazing what happens. So basically, underneath the nail, I think I mentioned it before, but underneath the broken nail, that the skin that's there starts hardening and then forming the nail itself. It turns into a nail.
Yeah.
That's how amazing the body is, man. And I feel like, you know, making sure that I'm dosed up. You got to dose up. When it comes to the nutrients, you got to dose up.
Yeah.
That helps.
It's weird that when a nail grows up, it grows back, and it's like you say, it's sort of like the skin itself has been programmed to just become nail in that area.
Yeah.
So even if you take the nail off, it just goes back to being a nail.
Yeah. It's like as if as soon as air hits it, you know, oxygen. Yeah. If you think about when you cut yourself and then you bleed and then it scabs up because of the air in it. If you left a plaster on it, it wouldn't scab up as quick.
Yeah. Which
is weird.
It still goes all wet, doesn't it? But underneath the scab's always wet. So when you pull the scab, so the plaster's acting like the scab. So your body thinks the plaster's the scab, but it's not really.
It's not, because it needs more. The plaster's not really as effective as you think it is, as opposed to.
But all your skin still goes all like weird and wet underneath the plaster.
Yeah, but think about what your skin does when it does scab up. That means that it's really, you know, it's containing that area. You know, way more than any man-made plaster could do.
It needs the body needs to have a wet environment to heal. So that's why you have inflammation.
Yeah,
because it creates like a pocket of water in that area to, you know, to allow all of these little bacterias and viruses to come in and like clear bits out, and you know, TB and all these other little things that come in and eat away the cells. And
then you got
it needs to be in liquid, you know, in a liquid environment. That's why you get, when you have a splinter, you get water in there, don't you? Like a lymphy.
You get like a pus, and the pus is
that's all pus is. Pus
is
just the shit being pushed out, dead cells, bad stuff.
Mad, man.
Bacteria.
And, you know, to think like how many people still don't understand how powerful the human body is. You know, they kind of, it's like everything's disregarded in such a way. And then even looked at as like, yeah, well, you know, luckily we've been able to survive. It's like, no, man. You think this is luck? This is God given. This is God made, man. This ain't no luck. What you talking? What is we talking about right now, son? You know what I'm saying? What is we talking about? Yeah, man. So yeah, it's a funny one, man. But before we get into it, yes, I gotta make sure. Big up Sinead, big up Nice One, JM, all the crew coming in. Robbie Love, what's going on? Jeez, it's been a minute, boy. You know what I mean? I hope everyone's recovered from their 420, by the way. I got mash up. I definitely got mash up last week. I was blazed. But big up to John ZD and Mem DVG. Please check out the last episode if you missed that. Shout out to all the silent listeners as always. Tonight, we're going to get into something special with a friend of mine. I got to, you know, I told a few people about my ayahuasca experience. You know what I mean? Man got the ego death. Drive by on the ego. You know what I mean? three times in a row, boy. Drive, ego was like, save me. And, you know, it's refreshing. That's the one thing I can say is, as intense as it can be, you know, some people say it's not that intense for them, but for me, it was refreshing, and it, you know, it's good to do it around you got the right people around you, you know what I mean? Regardless of whoever else is out there, you know, and so this is one of the people that was there with me. She does energy healing, you know what I mean? So we're going to talk about that. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff you might never know nothing about. So ladies and gents, without further ado, let me introduce you to my friend, Anuka Yau. Let's get some fire emojis, some love hearts, whatever you feel like. Candy floss, what What's your favourite sweet, Anu?
I don't have one anymore because I don't eat it. It's
See
all
it
shit.
there. Hey, that's the intro right there. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Bueno, thank you. Great. Really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming through, man. I know it was a bit last minute, so
pleasure.
we always appreciate that. Yes.
That's how we roll in Mexico.
Exactly. So you're out in Mexico, living free, more or less off grid, right?
No, I've got Wi-Fi. I watch Netflix. Don't be daft.
No, but I mean, okay, yeah, I guess. Well, if you got Netflix, yeah, you can't be off grid. You're fully plugged in.
I still use Amazon. Have to.
Yeah. Oh, so you get Amazon deliveries where you are? Well, but you're like in the mountains, no?
But it's in a little mountain town called San Cristobal de las Chiapas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tiny. But I'm living in this compound that's used to be a forest, and all these houses are just built around it. But it's a mixture of locals and also people like me, travellers and gringos, for want of a better word. So it's pretty high class. It's not a cement hut or anything. And everyone has Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is just part of life now, isn't it?
Yeah,
we've got that.
Right, we're talking about that, man. The Wi-Fi being part of life. So much so that I don't know if you heard, but we had on Sunday, was it? Yeah, Sunday, 3 p.m. Mine happened at 2:59. I felt violated.
Did you not switch your phone off or anything?
I couldn't work out how to do it. There was a time when I was trying to do it, and then I got distracted, and then I never. And then I was at a restaurant, and it went off, and it's like everybody, you could just feel this weird energy, like something's going on. And then I was like, oh, man, I forgot to turn the thing off, man. How dare they interrupt me whilst I was getting tucked in to some lamb chops Sunday afternoon.
That's it.
Yeah, so it felt a bit...
now.
But that's the crazy thing, is that now they've... it almost in a way, it kind of shows how many... They've shown how many people are attached to their devices, how the devices have more or less become part of us, to the point where they try to make... it's almost like they tried to make the Cyrus go through the phones, when they did the track and tracing. Like, that's how they make it spread more than they could in any other way. Well, you just walk past somebody that had it, so now you better go home and and you're telling everyone at work, all your friends, I can't see you because so-and-so. Hold on, I saw you about 3 days ago, though. Oh, I bet, they tried to do that with the whole track and tracing thing, but obviously it didn't work. But it just shows how attached we are. And anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But so we wanted to talk to you about, obviously, how did you end up in Mexico? I want, people to understand this is a journey that they might never know nothing about. A lady, Anuka here, defeated, something that a lot of people would be very scared of and might end up being in the wrong place by speaking to the wrong people. But first of all, the journey, what made you decide, all right, I'm up and leaving the UK?
So basically, up until the age of 38, I just lived a very ordinary London life. I was living in Hackney. I was married. I was a human rights lawyer. And I was just really, really unhappy. Did a lot of coke. Went shopping a lot, ate loads of shit just to stuff all my feelings down. But I always knew that kind of life, the kind of 9 to 5 living, just going to work, coming home, going to bed, partying at the weekend. I knew it just wasn't sustainable for me. And anyway, it all came crashing down in 2008. And I was doing the washing up one day at Christmas, and my voice, my inner voice, my intuition finally said to me, if you stay in this marriage, there's only one space for one person, and it's not going to be you, and you've only got one life. So from that moment on, I knew I had to leave my marriage, I had to leave my job and all that. So it's just slowly I got rid of the job first, because also I was a human rights lawyer, which all sounds great and whatever, but it was never, crazy amounts of money, not like a city lawyer, and I didn't want to get caught up into the money trap.
All right.
In terms of ending up earning so much money that you can't leave. I think at the time I was earning 35 grand, which is, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's a lot of money nowadays, but that's all it was. So I left before I started making partnership and all that. And plus, I just didn't like it. So I left that first. Then I left the husband. Then because I left the husband, I had to leave the house. And then I had to house share after like 17 years living in my own property and being in a relationship. But all that was just teaching me how to stand on my own 2 feet. And just the fact, and just as I got the divorce papers through, I think it was my birthday, and on the night of my birthday, I came back from celebrating and I found a lump on my breast. Oh, wow. And usually I would just like, it's nothing. But again, my voice said to me, go to see the doctor tomorrow. So I did. And they said, it's probably nothing. But I actually found out it was cancer. And so that kind of like started that was when it was like, now I've got to really wake up. And I tried to kind of like go down the traditional route, but they were like, I don't know how many biopsies they had so many biopsies on my poor boob, and they could not find out. They couldn't locate exactly how big the cancer was or where it was and whether there was any more tumours. And they said to me, I think the best thing for you to do is to have a mastectomy. Wow. And this was after telling me that it was a stage 1 cancer and the most serious one is stage 4. And I just thought, what the fuck? And on that point, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to just... And whilst they were doing that, it was a 5-month gap between the diagnosis and then saying that to me. And during those 5 months, all I did was just sit with this knowledge that I had cancer and just allow it to come into my body and just allow myself to be all right with that news and not get in a panic and not go around making it into a drama that is not. And I was really careful who I had in my inner circle during that time. There was Aisha, your beautiful wife, my best mate, and also my other best mate, Jill, who I've known since I was 13, and that was it. Everyone else, I thought, it's not Hollyoaks drama, and you're making it, you're taking ownership of it, it's none of your business. So there was that. And then my housemate's best friend's wife happened to be a nutritionist, and he said, go and see Anna, she'll sort you out. So I spoke to her and she said, yeah, I can help you. And I just basically went on this diet and I just cut out all carbohydrates, all sugar to shrink the tumour because it's the sugar that's toxic. Acid. And from doing that, I noticed that so much food had inbuilt sugar in, inbuilt carbohydrate. Yeah. And the funny thing was, as soon as, like, before I changed my diet, I was eating kebabs. My last meal before I changed the diet was fish and chips down Roman Road, you know? I mean, I just loved just eating crap food. Yeah. And then I literally, the next day, I went to Whole Foods, bought everything, threw all the meat, the processed food, everything away, and just started eating tons of leafy green vegetables. And it was literally like a shot up my bum.
Wow.
Nice. It was literally like day and night. It was literally like, fucking hell. It's like real fuel for the body. And I just thought, oh, yeah. So anyway, so we went back to the hospital. So they were like, yeah, you think you need a mastectomy? And I just went, I'm not doing it. I said, give me 3 months and let me see if I can sort myself out. And they were like, well, you do know you can die. And I said, well, we're all dying at some point, but I'm not having you tell me what my body needs.
And you see,
you don't know what you're talking about.
How they go straight to that, like straight away. Yeah. That's the first thing they want to tell you. And that creates, that idea of that is to create the fear for you to then, oh, actually, okay, then chop me. Yeah, just chop me up. Yeah. Jeez, okay. So then you're like, all right, cool. Yeah, you can say that, but let me go and...
Yeah, I said, give me 3 months. I want to try it my way. And I think what gave me the courage to do that was actually, you know how everything you join the dots to your life. Being a human rights lawyer, I had to sue the police. I had to sue the government. I had to just basically stand up to these authorities on behalf of the clients. And so it just gave me that steadiness in me to go, yeah, you're Mr. whatever, because they're not called doctors, the surgeons, they're called Mr. And they call you by your Christian, by your first name. So I had to call them Mr. Blogs. And they would call me Susie, which is what my name was at the time. So there was already that hierarchy. But because of my work, my previous work, I wasn't scared of them. I thought, well, you don't know. You don't know. You don't know, actually. You're just throwing things at it. I know more about me. So I changed the diet, and I was doing all these different protocols like coffee enemas, not eating any carbs, like I said, hot and cold showers every day, doing rebounding, a little trampoline from Lidl's to get my lymph node going. And that was all I did for 3 months. And then I finally went to Hong Kong just to visit my family. And I told them about my diet. They were absolutely fine about it. In fact, they were more strict with it than me. You know, they would not let me eat a biscuit. I'm like, it's only a biscuit. I'm on holiday. No, it's got sugar.
Yeah.
And then my mom's friend, Mrs. Wong, said, oh, come go to my surgeon because she had breast cancer. Go and see him. And at the time, I was like, no, I'm doing my diet. It'll be fine. And my daddy said, go for me. Please go for me. And he said that. And I remember that when I was in England doing my protocols, I went to see a healer. And he said to me, the reason that you want cancer is to punish your family. And I just remember him saying that. So as soon as my daddy said, go for me, I said, all right, daddy, I'll go. Went to see this fella. And I trusted him immediately because he wasn't all high and mighty and made out that he was bigger than us. You know, he treated my dad, he treated my sister with some respect. And I said to him, this is what I want you to do. I want you just to remove the tumor and that's it. I don't want chemo, nothing. He said, well, it's not what I would suggest, but it's your body, you know best. So I arrived in Hong Kong on a Monday, went to see the surgeon on a Wednesday, and I was cancer-free by Friday.
What? Serious? So the doctor managed to get rid of it there, do you feel, or was that more so what you had done beforehand? You know, cleaning out your system.
When I was in England, they said they couldn't just remove the tumor because it was attached to the chest muscle. And if they tried to remove it, they'll remove part of the chest muscle and there'll be complications, which I think is fair. But by the time I got to Hong Kong, I'd already shrunk it enough that it detached itself, so it's just free floating. And so the surgeon just, got rid of it.
Oh, so the surgeon just got rid of
just cut it out.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Cut it out and took it out of the operating room and showed my mum and dad who were waiting in the waiting room.
Jeez. That's crazy, man. So, you know, what do we say? They call that anecdotal, but that's natural science right there. That's the body doing its work because of you making sure that you keep the body functioning in its optimal, at its optimal level, you know? And so for who knows what that could have been, but the label that they give it is cancer, you know, but it doesn't mean that you're not able to cure yourself as opposed to just treat your mind, like treatment. That's what treatment means, treat your mind. You're more actually dealing with you're getting to the core root of the problem as opposed to just like, just cut it out and carry on doing what you're doing for it to happen again, you know?
But it was also like, what I realised during my healing journey, how important food is in terms of food generally for all of us as medicine. Like you were saying at the intro, how intelligent our bodies are and how important it is to feed ourselves the right food. And then it got me realising that, the cancer industry is an industry. Because after I came back from Hong Kong, I had to go for a checkup at the hospital. And I said to them, how many people like me do their own treatment, get well? Oh, we don't keep those statistics. And I was like, what? I thought, why? And they said, no, it's not relevant to us.
It's not.
And I remember before I started my diet, I said to one of them, do you think changing my diet will have an impact? He said, no, up to you. If you think it'll help, it'll help. And I thought, fucking hell, you're the doctor, and you really have no idea the connection between, our mind, our bodies, our spirit. Yeah.
That's the separation right there, unfortunately.
Cartesian dualism,
they say you're qualified now, and lo and behold, you're totally detached from any form of qualification in terms of understanding the body. If, you know, you study all that, how is it, 6 years and then become a doctor, but only throughout that 6 years you do like 6 days, is it, or something like that? Or even if it's just 6 weeks on nutrition, then really this isn't about, you know, natural health. This is about...
Well, traditionally, before the 1900s, all doctors were homeopaths. All doctors used plant medicine. And I think it was in America, and Roosevelt or someone, I can't remember the names, but started the whole system of getting rid of all the natural paths, the homeopaths.
Yeah, it's Rockefeller, Carnegie, and JP Morgan, and then they started the... well, they kind of took over the American Medical Association, the AMA.
Yeah.
And then they come up with the Flexner report, which was like basically kind of the Bible as to, this is, if this happens, you do this. This is the treatment for this. This means this, you know. And then that just developed and then spread across the world. But it's interesting as well, because you mentioned Hong Kong, but one of the first places they went to was China. Once they kind of, they took over, you know, all the American schools and then went over to China, because obviously there you had traditional Chinese medicine, which was a different way, more of the terrain theory way, which is to do with the body, like looking after, you know, there wasn't this thing about these tiny micro things that have brains, you know, enough brain power that they could tell what time it is and what tone of skin color you have, and, you know, all of that. It was about like hot, I think there's a thing to do with hot, cold, and
sour,
moist, or something like that. Is it? Yeah. And so
wet and dry,
wet and dry and all that, and so they, you know, I think they started a school right next to the main traditional Chinese medicine college or something like that, and then slowly over years took over that. And
did they succeed?
Yeah, of course. They succeeded. They took it over, and then so it's become more of an allopathic way. You know, they've taken, they've thrown in the whole contagion thing and all that as well. And then obviously went over to India. And then when you think about like how many doctors are Chinese or Indian, it kind of makes sense. It's like, oh, wow, that's, you know, the best way to is just take over and have everyone thinking. So it's a whirlwind, man.
Install phantom machines at the hospitals. That was the beginning of it.
But even my Chinese doctor, when I was recovering, he said, "Oh, eat papaya, it'll help the collagen in your breast." Just the fact he said that, I thought, wow, that's just so different culturally from what, you know, I was being told by the leading hospital in London. Don't know.
I remember when I was little and my mum took me to the doctors about some sort of stomach problem, and he said, "Oh, just tell him to eat more mangoes."
Right.
Yeah, and that was like probably 79 or something, you know, Indian doctor.
Yeah, the enzymes in the mangoes.
So to him, he was probably just like, well, when we have that, we just eat mangoes.
Yeah, it's Ayurvedic, you know? Yeah, there are natural ways for sure, man. So shout out to Martha Sovereign, says mainstream cancer treatments are like using a sledgehammer to crack a peanut. Very true, man.
Because you're right, it's not just about the physical condition of having cancer. It's like, why was it in me? And that is the journey in terms of, it's not a case of, oh, you know, I must have done something karmically and deserve it. It's more like, what am I doing in my lifestyle that makes me so stressed that my body isn't naturally getting rid of all these cancer cells? Because we naturally got lots of cancer cells in us. But some of them only become tumorous when we're stressed, when we're not in optimum health, when our immune system's down. So that's the link that, you know, that Western medicine doesn't really make. You just say treat it, get rid of it, and then it's just a case of, let's see whether it comes back or not. Not saying what's going on in your lifestyle, what you do, how are you emotionally? Are you happy? What's your social circle like? Do you have connection? You know, do you have real emotional intimacy? All those things I had to learn myself, and I'm still learning it now. I mean, this was back in 2012. The deeper lessons of that cancer insight, I'm still absorbing, learning, sifting. Because it's the whole, you know,
In a way,
journey.
like you say, because it's in a weird way, it's kind of metaphorical that at that time you were going through, you know, you just felt like you weren't happy. And then this thing is growing and you're not even realizing. And then there come a point where you said, okay, I'm done with all of this. And then this was the thing that was, you know, once you noticed it, was like, okay, I'm really done with all of this. Like, I have to switch up everything. It's not even just about him, this. It's like, all right, my lifestyle, like how I'm looking after myself. And I think that in itself kind of shows how, you know what I mean, a lot of us have to, there's things you kind of have to let go, whether you like it or not, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't bring the right positive type of energy into your life, then it could cause something else. It could, you know, sometimes people just get sick because they're upset or because they're down or whatever. They just, no, I feel I'm getting a little bit of a cold, man, yeah, and all that. Yeah. So, you know, it could be worse. God forbid, but it could be worse than that. So I think it's important that every now and again, I guess, and that's where we can lead into the energy work. Like, it's obviously a case of being able to cleanse your energy in some form or way, as opposed to,
it's not just cleaning. Sorry, it's not just cleaning my energy, but it's also, I really had to learn from that point on what makes me happy. And what I realized in my own life, I was such a people pleaser up until me leaving England. I was did everything by the book, you know, did what everyone else told me and thought, if I don't do that, then I'm going to be a weirdo. You know, what will my friends think? What will people think if I do this or do that? So I really had to start from scratch and learn what makes me happy. Just basic things at first, like, oh, I like singing. Okay, go and join a singing workshop. Oh, I like, I don't know, dancing. So I did this static dancing. But it still took from 2000. So I got better in 2013, and I knew at that point I was done with England, and yet that people pleasing in me meant that I felt obliged to go back to work, because my boss had been so great with me. Yeah. She gave me all the time I needed off, and she gave me it on full pay. I didn't have to go on sickness benefit or anything. Wow. So I felt I owed her. Went back to this work. As soon as I got back, I knew, my God, I can't be in an office sitting in front of a desk, not only in front of a computer, but full of the Wi-Fi in the room, because there's so many computers. Yeah. And yet it took me, and so she left, my boss left, a new boss came. As soon as she started, my body went, go, we're going. So I said to her, I want to leave. She said, will you stay for 3 months so I can settle in so I know what I'm doing? And the people pleaser said, you're all right. Hated it. But what it's done, that whole journey of just sticking with something that I didn't want to do out of obligation, because I didn't want to let anyone down and I didn't want people to think badly of me. What that has cemented in me now is I will never put myself through that again. I'm going to, I will not go back to that sort of work. Even if you gave me £250 million and said, well, you only have to do it for 6 weeks, Anuka, I'll go, you're all right. I'm all right with my doggies. I'm all right eating lentils, Yeah. But it took life to get me to that low before I was like, okay, I'm done. Because like you said, we're so fixed on security, or fixed on not changing, or fixed on being scared of the unknown, and actually fixed on being unhappy. I think when I was in England, all my life up until I left, I was so unhappy because everyone else was unhappy around me, in that not being very satisfied, not 100%, waking up in the morning going, oh, I love my life. Because everyone wasn't like that. I thought it's the norm. And actually it's the, people who are really happy, that they must be lying. Don't believe it.
Yeah, I always feel like there's that, like a lot of the people that I know that work sort of businesses in the city and all that, they've always got to go out on the weekend, and it's like they work through the week, and then the weekend there's a chance where they can have like a little mini holiday type thing and not be, and then just out party.
And alcohol's the other thing, isn't it?
Keeps you
going. People using alcohol to suppress, and alcohol spirit is an entity. If you're absolutely pissed, you're wide open to God knows what comes into you. And you have blackouts and you can't remember, and you feel worse. It's all, that way of living, for me, I see it now, it was just a way of just me. I had to be pushed and pushed and pushed before I thought, I'm done now, I've got to go and find my life. But I'm so glad I actually took the plunge and found my life. Because now, if you said to me you'd be living in a little mountain town in Mexico, not speak the language, not know anybody, but be happy as Larry with my 2 little doggies and my 7 fish, I'll be like, are you sure about that? You know, you sure about that? But here we are.
Yeah. Shout out to Sinead. She says, Anuka, your story is really empowering. Love this. Stand up and salute as always. Go on, sister. Go on, sister.
Thank you, my love.
Liz Williams, mind blown.
Sinead also asked, have you used anything cannabis related or just purely nutrition?
Back in the day, I couldn't get it because I remember you told me, Mice, about cannabis oil, but I could not. I didn't know anyone that could make the quantity and the quality I needed. And I even went on YouTube to try and find out how to make it. And they were saying you have to use acetate, is it?
Isotope,
and
the extract,
this big vat, and I thought I don't want to be putting that in my body, so I wanted to, but the RSO. I just thought no. I just have to keep it simple.
If we, I don't think we were in touch with. Whatever you did worked at the end of the day, and I think it's like people should take note on the fact that what it goes to show is that the body was actually doing all the work. There were no meds or anything. That it was just the body, and obviously making sure that the body was at optimum levels of nutrition helped the body to be but
not stressing it out by eating.
Not stressing it out.
Like I really did not realize how basically sugar to us is crap. So I was off sugar for about 5 months, and then I went to my work's Christmas party. I had a spoonful of cherry trifle. I passed out because the sugar just hit me, and it gave me such a bad headache. And I thought, oh my days, this is not good. This is actually not good. It is a form of just giving your body time to rest, to do what it needs to do, but just not keep on stuffing shit in it all the time.
Take note, man. Take note.
Yeah.
Big up DJ Pro Tracks in the building. Okay, so then the decision to move even further out. Then I think it was where did you go first? Was it?
Where did I go first? I think I just started because I was 45. So I just thought I'm going. And I didn't know what I was doing. Never been traveling in my life, but I wanted to go traveling all my life. So I thought I'm doing it. So I just started I went to the States first. And when I was there, I looked on a website for volunteering, Workaway it's called. And only one organization contacted me, and they were based over in Northern California near Washington, Oregon, and they had a permaculture place. So I went over there, not realizing what these people were from the Rainbow Crew. Do you know the Rainbow Crew? They've got different tribes all over the world, and they basically travel around in school buses, their tribe. They just live on the land. They're outside, mainstream. I mean, they're a bit wild, but they've got rainbow gatherings all over the world. So this was one group of them. And I was working there 2 days, and then the second day they said, Susie, because that's what it was called, have you been to the hot spring? I said, no. And they took me to this natural hot spring, beautiful, that just happened to be on their friend's land. And they took me back to where they actually live. So they had the official base of being a permaculture organization. But in the back, there were actually a group of people that grew weed and who trimmed weed together. And they took me back to where they were. And I lived with them for 2 months. And I lived on a school bus with 2 other women. And one of them I'm still friends with. We all gathered in this yurt that they made out of trash. And for 2 months, they opened my eyes to the possibility of not living with money, because none of them had any money. They all were on food stamps. So if there was days when there was not enough money for food, they didn't eat. If they wanted anything, they would make it. Oh, we need a table. Okay, and a couple of people just go and make a table. And it was all about creating. So they created art, they created music. And it was just really, and they went dumpster diving. So we used to go dumpster diving.
Right, and that's like basically,
and it just going into the big industrial, and getting sushi and donuts and whatnot. And again, it made me see like, whoa, there's so much waste going on, and I don't actually need much. So they were the first people. And then from there, I went to South America, went to Ecuador, Peru for the first time. And I did ayahuasca in Peru for the first time. And the ayahuasca said to me, go back to Hong Kong to see your parents because they're going to die soon. It was that clear. So straight after the ceremonies, I just went to Hong Kong. And my visa was, everything's about divine timing. And I stayed in Peru for 3 months. Literally, on the day my visa ran out, I flew to Hong Kong, stayed with my folks for 9 months, looked after them, and literally I started traveling again. Went to Thailand 10 days after I left. My mum died. She just hit her head and died.
Jeez.
And I'm so glad I listened to the medicine and went back on nothing but the fact I got this message. Because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have spent the amount of time I did with my mum, and I wouldn't be at peace when she died. You know, it would have been still a shock and whatever. And so after that, I went, oh yeah, and I didn't go back to Hong Kong for the funeral because I just didn't want it. I'd been in bed for 9 months and I just literally left, and I didn't want to go back. And my family were not very good at dealing with emotions and vulnerability. We just shout at each other. And I wasn't in the space to deal with all that anger. I thought, I don't want to do that to celebrate my mum. And because of that, my big brother, my eldest brother, just said, right, you're not part of the family then. So in the space between 2012 to 16, I've been through divorce, I've been through illness, I've been through death. And yet I was still feeling, I'm all right, God will look after me, and I'm not going to close my heart off. I'm not going to be bitter about any of this. So I just carried on traveling around all over South America and living in different communities. And then I finally, when you guys came to Peru, you saved me. You saved me. You saved me from myself and told me, Annie, bloody wake up and come back.
Yeah, we rescued you from the jungles in Peru, boy. You was out there in some wild territory. All right, let's talk about these, because when I talk about wild territory, like, I met there's just some crazy ass people out there that feel like they're, I guess, more one with the earth than everybody else, or more channeled, or more in tune with the frequencies. I don't know what it is, but there's like, you got this guy, Baba Tim, and he's all, you know what I mean? Everyone kind of looking at him and as he's, I don't know, he's the Jesus there. He's like that, Jesus there, but now he's from like East London though. Yeah, but when you're hearing about Baba Tim, it's like, oh yeah, he's like a big troll, and his hair, and he's got these long dreads, and you're just thinking like, oh right, I wonder what, does he levitate or something? And then you go there and he's like, all right, mate, how's it going? And I was like, what? But yeah, interesting guy. Had a lot of followers. Yeah, I heard, man. Yeah. Rest in peace to Baba Tim. But he had his own little spot with all bananas growing, and different huts where there were ceremonies going on. So and there were a few other people I met like that as well. Like one guy, I've forgotten, is it Adrian? Like yes, I walking through the jungle. He was like proud that he could walk through the jungle bareback at nighttime on his own. It's things like that. Like, all right, cool, man. That's you don't mind the mosquito, but all right, that's cool. That's cool. But what is all of this? Why the ego thing? There's a lot of that in that world, right? You've met a lot of these sort of people in this. Some people say new age. Some people say spiritual sort of world, but yeah, there are a lot of these sort of types, and I often wonder if because all the people under them obviously don't realize this. They just feel like, okay, yeah, I need somewhere to go. I need to find myself, sort of thing, and then they get drawn in by the wrong type of people. So how would you say is the best way to sort of, I guess, decipher who is, or discern who is righteous and who isn't?
You hit the nail on the head. The word discern, discernment. I mean, I was those people at the beginning of my own healing journey, when I knew nothing about anything. I used to think that someone was better than me, just the fact that they say, "Oh yeah, I meditate." I thought, "Whoa, you meditate." So it's just a case of now, roll on 15 years, I realized we're all just human, and yeah, these people that I met, I'm sure, I know some of them got gifts. They connected with the stars. They could channel and whatever. But my test is, the bottom line is, at the end of the day, we're human. We're in this body. We live on this planet called planet Earth. If you're an arsehole and you can do all the medicine you like, but if you're an arsehole in real life and you don't treat people right, you're still an arsehole and you've still got issues. So I guess, yeah, why would it be any different just because you put spiritual in front of a person's name? Why is being spiritual any better than, you know, Auntie Flo who just lives in, you know, Bethnal Green and watches EastEnders? Why is there all this hierarchy? And that's not what real spirit's about. That's not what God is telling us, or even Jesus. Everybody's the same. Everyone's equal, you know? But I think it's just easy going off to another country and, yeah, completely being brand new. Like, I got my name changed to Anuka because I just never resonated with Susie. It was given to me by a teacher at school. It was never really my name. But I could have been, you know, I could wear all the feathers and blah, blah, blah and just, yeah, make out that my shit doesn't smell. But I guess I'm Chinese, I'm from up north, and I got my friends to keep me down to earth. But it's all part of the whole anyway. You know, all the craziness and all the sensibleness, it's all part of being alive, isn't it? And
I guess
even me and you judging it is still us playing into the game of judging. Whereas actually, just allow everyone to be who they are. Like we were talking yesterday, my cup of tea is not your cup of tea. Does it really matter? I think the tricky part is just when you, that's the tricky part though, is when you see people getting taken advantage of. Do you get what I mean? Which is like what we're talking about. Is like, okay, so from that us coming there and then seeing with fresh eyes and not being involved in this thing for however many months or whatever, we could see straight off like, well, and furthermore, what I must say, you obviously knew is like how we had to do the diet. We had to do the diet beforehand. So before you do ayahuasca, there's like this whole cleansing of the body that you got to do, which really just brings that, it gets rid of and purges all of that sort of clustering type of energy that you have until your senses are sort of clear. And so when it's time for you to take the ayahuasca, you're really feeling it. There's not like loads of oil or salt or, you know, all the
pasta.
Like all this stuff, you know, it's things like that where
not digesting a gut full of pasta while you're doing it. No.
You don't want like you know, everything, man. Not even exciting stuff to watch on the TV or what you use. Everything, just bring all that excitement down. You know, your vibration down to a level where it's just like, you know, calm. And then when it's time, and so because of that, you're very alert. You know, you're very like me. I was like, I ain't been bunning, I ain't been drinking, I ain't been nothing like that. Wait, but doesn't that mean? And it was like, yo, I see. Like Mrs. Mice was like, I see why you plays now. That's because I remember I was going off in it.
Even if I go down to Bognor, where my mum and dad moved to, when I come back to London, if I go there for like a couple of days, come back to here, you just notice as soon as you enter the M25, it's like a sensory, it's just like an assault on your senses, and then you just dull down to it over the next day or whatever. Your senses just get dulled down, and you become, you know, the noises are just background noise. But before they was really loud when you first came back to the
big shitty life.
You just don't notice it when you're around it all the time. Once you take yourself out of it,
that's when you're like,
oh,
right. And so you know, we're there seeing everything for real, how it looks from our point of view, and it's like, yo, you need to get out. What is this? You know, the place they were at, staying at, and it was cool. It was really nice to be on the edge of the jungle like that. But I mean, then, you know, I got my wake up. Like everyone got their wake up call, I think. And after that, you came back to the UK for a while.
Came back, went to live in a community. And that was when I really started learning the tools that I needed to be human. Like I went to live in a community that ran along techniques that an Indian guru called Osho designed back in the 60s, 70s to help. Because he was saying Westerners got too much stuff up there in the head. We overthink. We're not in our bodies. So he did a lot of dynamic meditation exercises that help us move the energy from the head right through the body. So for nearly 2 years, I was doing all these dynamic exercises, bashing a pillow, screaming at my mum and dad. Yeah. And then COVID hit. But I was in a community, so it was like a bubble. So I don't know what was going on in the outside world because I wasn't looking at TV or anything like that. And in the bubble of community, we were just getting on with life. And I actually liked the fact that there was 30 of us living together. We had no one coming in doing big festivals. And we could hug and everything. So I wasn't missing on any of that. But then, and then my intuition again, so fast forward a year and a bit, and one day my intuition just said, this isn't the place for you. Out of nowhere, this is not the place for you. You've got to go. And by that point, I learned how that I just listened to my intuition. No matter, it's not meant to make sense using my head. My head can't make sense of my intuition. So I just literally realized that. And at the time, I had £50 in my bank account. I thought, how am I going to do this? So I just said, God, would you give me £500, please? And would you gift it to me so I don't have to pay it back? Thank you. Said that. Literally went to my mate's cabin because I was his cleaner, just about to plug the Hoover into the wall, and the download came back saying mortgage break because of COVID. I could get 3 months mortgage break because I got a little house in London. So I just basically got 3 months mortgage break. That gave me £1,500, and that was my plane fare and to set me up in Mexico. And I just went, thank you, God.
Jeez,
and that's it.
Yeah. Jeez, that's the prayer. It. Power of the prayer. Won't he will?
Power of the prayer, but also power of being aligned with life, being aligned with God, not letting the fear of my head get in the way of what my spirit and my gut is telling me. And that's just like you say, just cleaning myself, learning who I am, practicing discernment, practicing having boundaries, just basic stuff that we've known all along. But for whatever reason, when we're in city life, when we're in our 20s, all I wanted to do was fit in. And now I realise that at age 53, I'm not meant to fit in. Fitting in, boring, man. Just being a weirdo, that's the new norm. Just be, all of us have to do us. You know, we just have to do ourselves and let everyone else do themselves. And it will be so much different then. Yeah.
How did you know where to go when it was time to... So did you
another best mate of mine, one of my sisters, she was leaving to go to Mexico because BA was doing cheap flights, £366 return. I said, I'm coming. And she said, yeah, all right. Got to Mexico, went to a beach town. She said, oh, there's this little place, San Cristobal. I went there 15 years ago. Shall we go? It's nice, the mountains. I said, yeah, all right. Got here, and it was just a gradual thing. As soon as I arrived here, again, my intuition said to me, now you're ready to do your work. Because all along, even when I was traveling, I was living in communities and I was being useful. So still, that people pleaser was really strong in me. And this is the first time in my life that I went to live somewhere. I lived by myself, and I finally had the space to go in. And my voice said to me, you don't get distracted now by, the outside world. I mean, when I first got here, I was on Tinder. I was going to Techno Tuesday. I was partying. But as soon as my birthday happened, when I was 52, like God switched on the light. Everybody out. She's got work to do. So I just went in, put into practice everything that I've learned in 15 years, and just really allowed myself to feel the pain of being scared of being abandoned. That's the core wounding I've got. I'm so scared of being abandoned that I would do anything, even staying in shit relationships, not to be abandoned. And me being able to say, and why am I scared of being abandoned? Oh, because, I didn't get my needs met when I was little. And then I had to feel the pain of being, baby in my mum's womb. And then I had to feel my mum's pain and my dad's pain. And I just had to just sit here and do nothing, but just feel. Like even this morning, I had to feel cruelty in my heart. It was like, what the fuck? And it was like, oh, all the cruelty that I absorbed when I was little and all the cruelty I gave out in defense of feeling hurt and all the cruelty around us. And it's just like, 15 years ago, I wouldn't be able to tell you what happy, what sad, what angry was, because I was so numb the feeling. I just didn't know how to feel. So now here I am, sitting here weeping, and the dogs are coming. I'm like, oh, I'll make you dinner in a minute, my baby. Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. Wow. That's pretty deep, man. That's pretty profound, because like what you're saying is about that you needed companionship because, like you needed companionship, but then at the same time, in order for you to heal, you needed to, it's like this is what's healing you, is being by yourself and not learning not to have to rely on that companionship,
Not to abandon myself, to put myself first.
Yeah, and not feel abandoned. That's it. Yeah. So you're on your own, but you don't feel abandoned. Yeah, it's pretty profound, man. Definitely.
And this is the first time in my life, Mice, that I'm alone, and yet I feel so connected to everyone and life. Whereas when I lived in community, I was so burnt out from overgiving because I was just playing a role. I was resentful. I was judgmental, and every time anyone invited me to anything, I'd be like, no, because my heart wasn't open. But now I can finally feel, I know now what my limits are. Of course, I long for connection, but that's why I like doing my work. When I do my work, it's like that's the fullest version of me. I can give love. I'm also, the difference is I can receive love now. Like when I hug people now, I can feel their love for me, and it's not just me giving them my love. So I get a lot of nourishment from that. But I also know that socially, I'm not that fussed about being sociable just for the sake of it. I've got one friend here who lives up the hill, and I see her once every 2-3 weeks, maybe a month. And that's plenty, man.
Yeah.
And I would not have known that about myself if I didn't take the time to really get to know, well, who is this person that I call me? What makes me tick? What makes me happy? Yeah.
How do you think the old, pre everything that happened to you would describe the new you, like the real you, the now you?
Well, we're always, this isn't the final version, is it? Like, you're not the final version of you. Life is just constant change. And that's what I realize as well. So don't get used to it. Enjoy the good times, because it's going to be cyclical. But this version of me, my old self would have couldn't even have dreamed or imagined that I could be like this. Because I was so contracted, frozen, and unhappy. I thought that was my lot, because that was the generational story, the narrative that my family carried. Life is suffering. It's hard work. Don't show yourself too much, because people will be jealous and they're racist in England. That's passed down to me when I was a fetus, and I took it on and went, yeah, all right.
Wow.
Okay, I best play out this narrative because they're my family, and I don't want them to abandon me. But my story is not. It's the same. Yeah, I think all of us got the same story inside all of us, but I've just had the blessing of being able to unravel it deeper, because I've got nothing going on.
Well,
but even not having anything going on, my mind, at the beginning, 2 years ago, it was like going apeshit, because it was like, oh my God, oh my God, I'm disappearing.
How serious?
I've got nothing. Yeah, I've got nothing to validate me.
Yeah,
my soul's like, you haven't got it. Yeah.
That's the when you have still got to work on your ego. I feel like that's the the fracturing of man. That's like the problem we have. Man and woman is like the ego thing. In order to control that, it's quite tricky, and because you've got to, in some way constantly do that. But there are times you can easily trip out of that, even when you're working on yourself, like you're saying. But you've got people shouting out. Big up Sinead. She says 53. No way. Tempest Elixir. You do not look 53. People mentioning the diet. DJ Protrack says yes. Breaking all those ancestral curses. Legendary. Nice one. JM saying amen. Matha Sovereign. Agreed. I love this. So, you're definitely inspiring people with this.
Making me teary. It's just making me teary to feel all this love, and just the fact that I can feel everyone's love, and it's making me teary. Like all this bullshit. Oh, don't cry. Don't show your vulnerability. Be strong. All that's just Nonsense. We need to be heartful. We need to show each other this hurts. Will you hug me? That's how we are naturally meant to be. We're just kids. We're just little babies, actually.
Yeah. We're big kids, innit? We're big kids. We never grow up from that, you know. Yeah, exactly what you're saying. Like the childhood trauma is what shapes you, and you actually make your decisions off the back of that, you know, without even realizing. So
and we go around saying, you look after me, no, you look after me. And how can two little kids look after each other? So the only way to break that pattern, that cycle, is that you stand still. I had to stand still and go, no one's going to save me, not even my daddy. My daddy's 87. He ain't going to save me because he's a little boy. I've got to start being my own dad and my own mum and start making different decisions from now. Not based on being nice, being spiritual, based on what do I want. And it's still a journey, but it's been such a game changer for me to ask myself, what do I want? How do I feel? And that's it. Yeah, how do I feel?
Yeah.
It's the feeling. We've all been so numbed out in society by, you know, modern society not to feel. Oh, it's scary to feel pain. Oh, I'm not in touch. I don't want to touch the anger. All it is energy. Everything's just energy. You know how you were saying about frequencies and stuff with the phone alarm thing earlier. It's all just frequency. And if you just allow it to pass through you, it'll pass through you. But if we contract, we're causing ourselves physical pain, we're causing ourselves emotional pain, and you get blocked then because the energy, whatever it is, all it needs to do is just flow. Go back to the sky, go back to the earth. You don't see dogs when they're fighting. Well, you fought with me 5 weeks ago, brah. They fight, they forget, they shake it, and then that's it. And they're humping each other again, innit? And it's just like, it doesn't have to be difficult or complicated, but we've been trained to make life complicated.
That's very true, man. All right, so Boom Bap Sorcerer asks, what is your work? So let's get into this energy healing. How does it work?
So okay, I'll explain. So say like you came to see me. So we'd start the session by you just tell me why you're coming to see me, and I would just tune into your energy. And because it is energy, most of my work is online. It's only recently that I've been doing it, having sessions in my house. And by me tuning into your energy, I can hear who's actually speaking. Is it your little boy who needs loving? Is it your rebellious teenager? Is it your anger who needs to be expressed? And then from that, I've got lots of different tools I can use to see, can we get you from your head into your body? So there's emotional release exercises we would do to kind of like start shifting the trauma. Then I would invite you to, you know, start feeling some of the emotions that you might not have felt comfortable feeling before, like anger. I couldn't feel my anger. I would shout from my throat, so it would hurt me. But now I could. If you told me to roar now, I will roar. I will fucking roar for you,
From
you know? And
belly.
it's just power, and it's just getting people, so it's a series of exercises. It's dynamic in the sense that you are the one who has to do these exercises, but only your nervous system also, because we've all been traumatized. It's also, there's a balance between listening to your nervous system, see how far I can push you. If your nervous system contracts, I can't do anything, you know, because you'll go back to that trigger point and feeling traumatized. So there's a balance between doing dynamic exercises to release the trauma, release some of the stored up energy, and also being really careful and look after your nervous system. And so to do that, I would do a lot of holding people like a baby, because actually none of us were held properly as babies. Our mums and dads were too busy, especially if you're, you know, working class immigrant family. So I would hold them, and then I would give them, that's the point where I would give energy. And then maybe there's enough time, I would do some guided meditation at the end. So that's essentially it.
And so the type of people that would need this, because I'm trying to understand, like, would it help with people suffering from various types of depression, Would it be obviously the sort of ancestral trauma as well? A lot of people might be dealing with.
I've just designed my website literally 2 days ago, and I've put it on my Facebook page and also my Instagram page. So if you type out my name and put it on your thing, if people look on my Instagram page, it's got a link to my website, and it explains it in more detail and has testimonials. So people I've dealt with, some have had depression, some have had addiction, some just feel stuck, but they don't know how to, why. So it's a whole range of things, really. I find that people who come to me who seem to get the most out of it are people who perhaps, one, you have to be ready. Don't come because you've got nothing better to do. Don't waste your money and don't waste my energy. Yeah. So they have to be ready to sort of want to go there. And they also have to feel comfortable in their bodies so they know, so that they can be physical with their bodies and know what their limit is. People who I find who are really, really stuck in their heads, who aren't feeling at all, then it's going to take more than one session. And then I'll have to go really, really gently. And each person's so different. I can't say, oh, yeah, I gave you a rough idea how a session would go, but I don't know until you come to me and I tune in and then we see what happens, really.
All right, we're going to get your web link.
Just trying to find it now. What's the Instagram?
Yeah, what's the Instagram?
Anuka, Anuka, and then my surname is Yau, Yau.
Yau, okay.
I do that, and I also do tarot readings, like really in-depth tarot readings that also include some of the exercises, so you have the messages embedded in you. And my tarot readings, it's not about saying you will meet a tall, dark stranger or you will get wealthy. I don't do that. Again, it's just about, being able to get, because oftentimes before a session, I start getting messages from your guides, I guess, from your spirit, for me to tell you what you need to hear, So I get that when I'm doing the tarot as well.
And so the tarot is pretty deep, right? There's
It can be. I mean, it's got a certain rep that women of a certain age with blue eyeshadow smelling of patchouli oil. Well, I think I don't know. I mean, I used it as a tool for me to get into my intuition. It was Aisha, your beloved, you got me into it.
Yeah.
And then it just went from there. I wasn't going to do it as part of my offerings. I'll just do it for me. I'll do it for my friends. But then it just slowly built up. People getting interested. I was doing little tarot circles. I thought, that's the thing as well. Now I realise that work is not meant to be hard work or boring and effortful work. Like your work is meant to be joyful and easy and just a breeze. And so I thought, I feel that about tarot. Because I was minimizing it, going, it can't be anything, because, it's so easy for me to read it. And people say, fucking hell, you were spot on. How did you know that? I'm like, oh, okay. So it's like, understanding this new way of being it's about joy, it's about easiness, it's about effortlessness.
Yeah.
Anything that's crunchy, that's a sign it's not right for me. Just drop it.
That's deep, man. So, all right, so we got it there. Where is the button on Insta?
Isn't there a link?
Click through. Yeah, we'll put the Insta. There's a link on your
on the profile.
On the profile, exactly. So I'll put that in the chat room.
That's the website.
Yeah.
Shape/Anuka Yau, yeah.
Yeah.
This is all new to me. Aisha had to take me step by step through. I didn't even know what a domain name was. On Sunday.
You're back.
She said, what's your domain name? And we're like, what's that? I said, Anuka, in it.
You're back in. Okay, so what star sign are you? Sinead's asked. Yes, big up Regentology. Taurus. We're in Taurus time right now, baby. Come on with it.
Taurus, Virgo rising, Pisces moon, and Aries Venus.
Oh, Aries Venus. Interesting.
That's the one that gets me in trouble.
Yeah, for real. Aries Venus, son.
Yeah.
Jeez. So Venus is in Aries. That's like, okay, we'd have to get, if Mem was here, he could break it down. Get all deep on it for us. But yeah, that is interesting. Big up to IBMCs in the building. Yes, we've been getting very deep here with Anuka Yau. And something you might not, I can say it now, some shit you might not never have known nothing about, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Defeating cancer, deciding to take up and move into another world, come back, and then move off again. So how did you deal with the lockdown stuff? Like, you know, when it all started?
Into it.
No?
The community, half were split. Some didn't buy into it. Some were really, really scared. But I just knew it wasn't my reality. And the fact that it was when Peru got shut down, I thought, oh, it's just some bloody scam here.
Oh, for
real? I didn't even read up about it. And my community, they put all these hand gels around and said, Anuka, remember to use the hand gels. I'm not using it, it's carcinogenic.
Yeah.
I remember that from...
That's the maddest thing, man.
Yeah, I thought, I'm not doing that. So I just didn't buy into it. And I was in charge of doing the shopping for everybody. And remember to wear a mask, Anuka, remember to wear a mask. But I would just keep forgetting about that. I just thought, it's just not my reality. So I just didn't buy into any of it. But I knew that coming back to England and being in that lockdown situation, I just thought, I just can't stay in England long term, man. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. London's great because it's full of brown people. I can't be in places where there's no brown people. It's just, I can't do it. It's just not relevant to me anymore.
What you feel
and
out
I
of
always
place.
knew that my heart, it just feels like you're sticking out for the wrong reason. You know, the most boring question I get asked, where are you from? Why do you look like that? It's just like, I look like that because I look like that.
Yeah, it can get a bit too much.
Yeah. And I've since I started the traveling, this is part of my life. This is part of who I am, the travel. Yeah, I'm here for now, my doggos, whatever. But when they pass, or even before they pass, I'll just move when the time's right for me to move. Yeah.
Rolling Stone out here.
But you know what? Rolling Stone gathers no moss. So the implication is that if you travel so much and spread yourself out, you're not going to have friends. What I'm realizing in my traveling, how small the world is and how real people are. And what I love in going to all these countries that are not rich first world nations, people, there's a soft, well, you knew that when we were in Peru and we sat in that little town square and just felt everyone, families are out, children are out, people are out socializing. And like, if you want something done, you create it. You don't go and buy it. You just create it.
Yeah.
You share things with each other. You know, have you got a shopping trolley I can borrow? Yeah, have it. And it's that kind of thing. So I'm realizing that all the constructs of being in Britain and living in my little house with all my things, sod that, mate.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah. That's
your
soul talking to you, man. And, you know, like you said, you're so much happier now. Like, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. But
and the experience is that.
I still sometimes compare myself to people. That's when my ego comes into play. I get a bit scared and insecure, going, oh, but I've only got 4 views and so-and-so's got 14 million. And then I think, drop all that. So what if I've got 4 views? Who cares? Am I enjoying making content? Does it make me happy? Why am I doing it? Am I doing it because it's creative, or am I doing it for a hidden agenda? And it's kind of like we all have to be sharp with ourselves, like you say. Don't let the ball drop. But the more I act in integrity, the more I lead with my heart, the more I speak my truth, even having uncomfortable conversations with people, the more I feel more powerful and alive and less defended, so that I can give more love, you know?
Definitely, man. Big up to IBMCs. It says, I don't believe in star signs. No one seems to know how it's supposed to work. Yeah, there are people that do, you know, they do explain how it's supposed to work, but it is like a kind of, it's a thing that is already there, and the best you can do is try and explain it, which is what happens with virtually everything that is of nature. Like, man tries to explain it, and the best they can. And the most we can do is, you know, So there are people telling us things about what's going on inside our body, but the only way they can really study those things are when the body's dead. They can't actually do it when the body's alive. Yeah. So we're just getting, you know, a rough, like possibly and theoretically and could be, you know, all these words planted into the sentence that we don't even realize are there.
Each person,
yeah, but the same things.
Each person's lens, isn't it?
So with the sky, yeah, exactly, and through each person's lens, everyone's got a different point of view as well. And so the same thing is going on with the sky clock, with the whole, you know, idea of astrology and whatnot. Is that various different people have their ways of explaining it. Not everybody knows it to 100% fullest degree, because everyone's scraping to find the right knowledge. You know, a lot of things have been hidden, have been taken away, but we can see that the signs that people use now as star signs have been carved in walls from, you know what I mean, like millennia ago. Like, so it's there whether we understand it or not. And for some reason, for, you know, a vast amount of people across the world, it works. There are different, and even to the point where there are different, you know, countries and cultures that have their own way of studying the skies and have their own signs and whatnot. So there's got to be something there. You know what I mean? I don't know if maybe we need to speak to the right people who can explain it. I don't know.
I'm sure there's something there. And also, when I used to, you know, get my horoscope read, and when I used to go for tarot reading, I was secretly hoping someone would tell me it's going to be all right. And now I know, of course, it's going to be all right. So it's kind of like going from
you don't need
wanting someone to look after you and say you're going to be all right, to you standing in your power and saying, and not even saying to yourself, just having that trust that, of course, it's going to be all right. Why wouldn't it be? And there's a subtle difference, isn't there? So it's a case of, yeah, there's wealth and knowledge in the stars and all that, but and equally, I'm just mindful of, am I using it because I'm avoiding, again, asking the deeper questions of myself? Am I using it because I want someone to tell me what to do? And those days are over for me, babe. I can't get someone to tell me what to do, because that's not what life and God and spirit wants me. They want me to figure out what I'm going to do.
And you just got to coast with it. You got to coast with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the new normal for me is I don't do anything, just rest and don't do anything. And then because of that resting, I can feel when it's time for action. Like for a year and a bit, 2 years, I didn't do a thing. And then literally I spoke to Aisha last week. She said, oh, maybe you should do I think a website would be good for you. And literally this week I did it all. I've posted things on YouTube, on Instagram. I knew nothing about any of this stuff last week.
You weren't bothered.
I was still just watching Netflix and swinging in my hammock, you know?
Yo, all right, so let's get into, someone asked about our experiences with ayahuasca. Yeah. All right. There were a couple other things that we came across, didn't do though. Cambo was one of them. Can you explain what, from what I understand, Cambo was like what people used to kind of purge any sort of toxins in the body, but it almost, everyone was talking about like you feel like you're going to die or whatever, and then all of a sudden you feel amazing. So
I haven't done it, so I don't know. And also, I just heard that traditionally Cambo was used by hunters in the jungle to get rid of their scent, so that the animals couldn't smell them.
Wow.
So what it was used for by the indigenous people have been appropriated by us lot, going in there thinking we're the big, hoo-has, and then taking it over and putting all this stuff over it. But I don't know.
I remember it was that Bubba Timms, boy. Bubba Timms, he had to cut through the jungle. It's like that. I swear I had a machete with me and all that. He's like through the jungle, and then bam, you come out like, oh. It's like he had his little Peter Pan area, you know.
Well, Neverland.
Yeah, he had these like flutes. There was all bananas and that growing out, like all well placed and everything, palm trees and all that. And then all these different huts, you know. His one was, of course, up high. You had to take some steps to go up high and all that. And, you know...
I remember all that. I can't remember it. I blanked it out.
You was being rescued at the time. You know?
Yeah.
And he had, you know, you're walking past one of these huts and you're just hearing... Ah! someone screaming, ah! Like, yo, what the hell's going on?
Oh,
Someone
yeah, I
being
remember
tortured
that
in
bit.
there. And they go, no, she's doing Cambo. And then, like, there was like, yeah, she's
Get
doing
rid of his
Cambo
scent.
in there. There's a couple people doing Cambo. And then I was like, right, she's really feeling it, innit? And the guy was like, yeah, she's a screamer. I was like, right,
Oh,
boy,
yeah, I remember that
it's
bit.
just that
Yeah.
standard for them lot, man. But yeah, so I guess so that, and it's meant to be like off the frog in it or something. There's frog skin
Yeah.
or
Frog skin, yeah.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
that they put it on there. They put some, I think they burn the skin a bit,
Yeah.
and then they put the Cambo paste on it, and then bam, you let it seep in, and then next minute, that's when
Sounds
you go
natural.
through. So I don't think it's really much of a psychedelic thing, is it? It's more of a
It's a
cleansing
purge,
thing.
I think, from what
Yeah.
I understand about it. But my take on all the plant medicine, even with ayahuasca, is that we as Westerners, we go there and we do all this, and it's not really traditionally what the indigenous communities used it for, but it is what it is. But the last message I got was like, you know, practice not being an asshole. You don't need plant medicine. Yeah, you can, like I say, you can be with the stars and purge and whatever, but you still got to be in this body as a human being and go around mixing with the world, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And it's not using us as an escape. Or, it
I
can only
think
take you to yourself, but you still have to go inside yourself to find out about yourself. No one can do that for you, mate.
yeah, it's true. I think the plants, things like ayahuasca, definitely help you with doing that. But you can, as like Aisha was saying, like you can do it yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like she was saying, I think you can get to that sort of place by yourself, but it's obviously a form of meditation that you got to be able to master. I think for me, like, so I did 3 nights of it. The first night was really hardcore intense and going back into my own life and, all the way, like even what you mentioned earlier about going into the womb. I remember there was a point I was going back into my mother's womb. And so I try and explain to people, it's like, imagine a long line, and this is my whole life from beginning to end, or beginning to up till now. And then it would be like, it was just pulling me from there. Do you remember this? And I'll be like, oh, at sometime in school or whatever. And then they go, bam, bam, that's why this happened. Take me into the future and go, and then things like that, and just popping me back from forth and, different places in my life and saying this is because of this. And what's happening is I'm getting the experience all in one go, like vividly, like I'm actually there and it's happening. And I say to people, like, that's, the difference between sort of, if someone would say going to a shrink or whatever, you're going to sit there for an hour and all these words are going to come out and, it's all linear, it's all happening, it takes a certain amount of time because these words have to come out. But when you're having therapy under this type of, in this type of way with ayahuasca, it's like everything's coming at once, but you're understanding it because it's not in a, so it's not, it doesn't take as long for you to just like, oh, right, I get it. Straight away,
Well,
you feel it.
Understanding it straight away because it was by telepathy, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you're feeling it as well, though. You're actually
yeah.
experiencing it as well. So everything's happening. The feeling that you would get if you were there at that time. So it's such a massive difference. Very intense.
But you were ready.
Yeah.
Because your own self-quest before you got to the jungle, and also because of the diet. But you were ready. Like you weren't resisting it with your mental Western way of thinking.
Nah, I did a lot of research on it, boy. Beforehand, I was like, yo, let me make sure, because I don't know. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But then, once I started getting into it more and understanding, oh, right, that's why the diet is happening, because you're already communicating with the plant through that. And it's part of the ceremony in a way, like paying respect, paying homage. People just got to think about plants being here way long before we have been. And then there's proof that there's communication. Yeah, there's communication that goes on between plants through psilocybin as well as roots and whatnot. So there's, I don't know where, but that to me shows there is some kind of connection there. And so the first night was really intense, and I got all of that out of the way, sort of learning everything and just understood everything a lot more. Came out in the morning. You don't know how long it is when it's happening. But, you end up finally falling asleep like, okay, like, like, and my falling asleep was weird for me because this lizard man kept popping up every now and again, this lizard face. I was like, ugh. And I thought I was going to die. Like, that's the moment where the ego death came in. Not through the whole, journey that I had, like the whole, oh shit, it was like that, like I was on a roller coaster. Oh my shit, I didn't know, I'm all crying and that, like it's really, you're just understanding, you're feeling everyone's, you're in everyone's moment as things are happening. That's how crazy it is. You're not just like looking at it from your point of view, it's from everyone's point of view. So I was like, I saw so many people through that journey, like so many different people. And then the second night was more, it was like focused on my voice. And then I was doing, the Tibetan throat gurgling, throat singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing that. All to the point where I was like, it was ripping my stomach and all that. I was like, like, what the hell? Man. And then the third night, I didn't need to do it because everything was done. I even had like a weird ear thing that I'd had for years through performing and whatnot. And, when we went Croatia, I think, from then. And that disappeared. That went. It was like, I haven't had that problem again since then. Yeah, I haven't had it. Like, it's cool. My ear's fine. And, as well as all these, just the awakening, like, and I even think that probably prepared me more for the pandemic more than anything, more than a lot of people around me. Do you know what I mean? It kind of just, something just clicked like, oh, how the world is. Like, everything's cool. Don't worry. Like, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? And so even with that happening, as panicked as I was at the beginning, because I didn't know what was going on, but it was easier to like, okay, let me just take in what this is. Let me read this. I never would have bothered to read. I'd have just been like, whatever. But let me just see to make sure that my whatever is for real or whatever. Like, let me not just accept it, do you know what I mean, from face value like I normally would. And that's because of the awakening that I had, when you were there. Or when we were there.
It was strong. I remember because I couldn't do it. I wanted to do it with you two, but when it came to it, my body just went, you're not strong enough to do, ceremony. And I remember being in my little hut and it was like thundering and lightning and there was torrential rain when you two started. And I had a little cat at the time and me and the little cat were just saying our prayers to God. God, look after Kevin, look after Mice, look after Aisha, send them our love. And we were just like with you. We were with you the whole night, even though, I wasn't physically there. I just felt both of you. I guess because I love you so much, Oh,
we love you too, sis. We love you too. Jeez. Yeah, man. So that was a powerful experience right there. And obviously a type of therapy. I think if you're going to do it, make sure that you research the people you do it with, first of all. And then also, I think it's important to do the diet. The diet. It's quite simple. It's just cut out oil, salt, sugar, fats, alcohol, smoking, sex, violence, everything that you enjoy. No pork on your fork. No meat. Yeah, I mean, it's easy, man. It ain't easy, but it gets you ready for it anyway. But yeah, if you do, man, there's a few people you can get in touch with. Phoenix the Ice Fire, as well as, who else? There's someone else who does it out here as well now. But yeah, moving on. Obviously, types of therapy we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about this because we know you've got into it and you have quite an understanding about this. What's the way of saying it without saying it? Urine therapy.
Well, it's called urine. That's what people they'll call it. Your urine.
Urine.
It sounds more medicinal.
Right. We're all in. We're all in on the urine right now. Ladies and gents, grab your buckets if you need to, man. You know what I mean? If you feel a bit squeamish. But we're going to talk about this.
Actually, I do need to have a pee. Can I have a quick blue break and I'll come back?
Are you going to drink it in front of us? Or... no.
Oh, yeah, I could do that.
We'll have a little ad break.
Yeah, we'll have a little ad break.
Yeah?
Yeah, go on, do your thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Orin.
I'll put you on mute.
Yeah. That's Anuka Yau right there. You know what I mean? energy healer, healing of a lot of other things as well, as you can see. Do you know what I mean? And speaking of healing, it's only right we get into some Connoisseurs UK talk. And when I talk about Connoisseurs UK, I'm talking about quality CBD products, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. Why use CBD? Well, CBD is one of over 100 active cannabinoids in cannabis and has been used historically for its many health benefits without the high associated with THC. God damn. Yes, and it comes from the plant extracted, you know what I mean, sourced from one of the most trusted and well-established suppliers in the UK. The plants are grown organically without the use of harmful pesticides or chemicals on hemp farms across the EU. Oof. You know what I mean? So you know you're getting the quality right there. And let me shout out the products, of course, man. You've got indica CBD spray as well as sativa CBD spray. And with these sprays, you can, you know, under the tongue, over the tongue, wherever you want to put it, man. Rub it into your armpits. I don't know, you know what I mean? Some people do some wild stuff anyway. But yeah, very good. If you want to catch that like upliftment, go for the sativa. If you need to get some sleep and relax, go for the indica. You can also get an full spectrum, which is both indica and sativa spray. And that just, you know what I mean? That's when you're getting everything the way you're supposed to get it, all in one, holistically. You can also get CBD balms, sativa, or full spectrum. They can help with aches and pains as well as rashes. You know what I mean? What I find people, if you work out, if anyone works out there, when you get the DOMs, you know, when that first time you get back into it, I know that some of you lot are going to do that now because summer's coming back in. When you get the DOMs, yeah, the CBD, trust it helps, man. Just rub that on the old muscles, and trust me, helps you heal a lot quicker. And if you like a little, you know, sip at night on some hot chocolate, I gotta give a shout out to the hot chocolate stirrers, of course. You get 3 in a pack. Just throw some hot water in a cup and stir it away, baby. Ha ha. Yeah, man. And also, they got the Belgian chocolates, man. Can't get enough of that. Quality CBD products from ConnoisseursUK.com. And when you get to the checkout, make sure you type in the acronym for the show, SYMNNKNA. That's SYMNNKNA. Shit you might not never know nothing about, and you'll get yourself 20% off any order from ConnoisseursUK.com. Mother lovers.
We've also got this thing coming up.
Yep.
Let's take the music off so we haven't got some sort of copyright thing.
Oh yeah, just in case.
Which is
breaking. We got the Breaking Convention Park Jam this Monday, 1st of May. The flyer is here, mother lovers. Oh yeah, you can see that. You got Lady Like. You got Skinny Man. Myself, my Stiggy, Mass Law hosting. It's going to be from 2 p.m. till 7 p.m. Woo! Wow, they're not playing around, man. Also got Lashanti, Twin Tactics, IC1, Shelby T, more artists to be confirmed. There's a lot going on there. You know, they got the stalls. They've also got the basketball court with a lot going on in terms of breakdancing. There's also
Shorty Blitz.
Shorty Blitz is going to be DJing alongside Sarah Love. Yes, thanks. You saved me there, Dan. I was trying to read that there. And then, who else? There was something else I was going to mention as well. Yeah, they've got the Barbarians, man. They got the dudes doing the calisthenics around the back, man. So, you know, it gets crazy. It's going to be a wicked day, man. Something for the whole family as well, so you can bring the youth them. Make sure you come through, mother lovers.
And then
Breaking Convention Park Jam.
The other thing
Monday,
is
May the 1st. It's amazing how May the 1st seems to always drop on a Monday. Does it?
No.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, does it?
It's always the first Monday of the first Monday of the month. basically. So if it just happens to be the first.
Yeah, you lot caught me on a
And this is
420 moment there, boy.
The other thing.
And the other thing is the Smokey Joe and the Kid live album is coming out this Friday for all you bitches and bitchettes. No discrimination, by the way. Yeah, so make sure you go and stream that, please. You know what I mean? Support the lads. This is the last one, last tour of the year. So, you know, we thought we'd go out with a bang and give you lot a live album in case you missed the show, which is probably majority of the people watching this podcast, because you mother lovers are definitely not in France all the time. Wicked, man.
And what is that? What is the actual live album then? It's just
so the live album,
it's not just one show. It's like cuts from different shows.
Yeah, cuts from different shows. So it will be a mixture of shows that we've done throughout the tour over the last sort of year and a half, I'm pretty sure. So then they're versions of tunes that would normally have the rappers that, you know, were on them on the original, but we put our own little panache on there.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, people are getting exclusive bits and bobs there. Even mess
so
ups
these
as
won't
well.
have been,
yeah, I mean, it's just
it's live.
Yeah. So yeah, it should be fun, man. Should be fun for the people then. Okay. Yes. Shit you might not never know nothing about. Let's get on back to the program. Anuka. Right.
My love.
Have you got, how much did you get, a litre?
Yeah.
All right. So we wait for it to cool down a bit. Some ice.
I prefer it straight away. Yeah, if you're going to have it.
Is it? You prefer it straight away?
Yeah, when it goes cold, it's not as palatable.
People age it though, don't they? They like, there's people that talk about they got 10-year-old and all that. Right, so
it gets more ammonia-ish the longer you leave it.
And so, no, but apparently not if you put cotton wool. It gets less ammonia-ish.
Yeah, I've got 5 jars aging right now.
What's the oldest one?
September.
Wow. So urine therapy.
So what do you do with the older stuff? What do you do when it's aged? Do you sort of
the aged
use
stuff
it for skin?
The one that generates the stem cells in it.
So do you use it for skin, or do you don't drink it when it's old, or
I do.
Right.
So I started. Okay, so the aged stuff I use mainly for my skin care. So I rub it in the morning and in the evening. And I also rub it in my joints because sometimes my joints are sore. So it's almost like I use it like Tiger Balm. And if my doggies have got any rashes, I put it in their food and I rub it on them. And like this morning, I had a little bit of, sometimes I get shingles. And I've just noticed I had a patch on my belly. So I rubbed some on this morning. And when I went to the loo earlier and looked at it, it's already started healing. So it's good. It's good for regeneration of cells, the aged one. It's not so good for muscular problems, though, but actually, at the moment, it seems to be working in terms of helping my joints. So that's what I use the aged one for mainly. And then the fresh one, I drink the first flow every morning. And like you say, I drink it warm. And sometimes I drink it through my nose so it cleans my sinuses. And again, I just use it to give it to the dogs. And that's it. Occasionally, when I first started, I was looping it. So every time I peed, I would drink it.
Yeah.
And I did that for about 2 weeks. But that was just for me to get into my own energy, because that's the reason why I did it. Because I wanted to be more in my energy so I could do my work cleaner. And I did notice that there's a really subtle vibration if you loop. Like you can feel that it's almost like being back in your mum's womb. And you know how that, I can't remember how to pronounce it. You know, that fluid around you, when that the fluid sac, that's all weird.
Amniotic.
So by drinking that's
fluid,
the one, amniotic. So by drinking it, I could feel this like there's just this bubble of soft containing love surrounding me. And then one day I was sitting there, my third eye, the middle of my forehead, just buzzing. I thought, what's going on? And then later I found out that actually it decalcifies the pineal gland. So I thought, all right. But I use it to do mouthwash if I have a sore throat. In winter, because it's so damp and rainy here, sometimes I get a chest infection. Because I was born asthmatic and I drink it and it disappears after 2 days. As opposed to when I didn't know about urine therapy, I had a chest infection that lasted 6 weeks when I first got here. So it's great. I thoroughly recommend it.
So I'm just looking up here, and it says it's thoughtco.com, and it's saying there's a table of urine chemical composition. And it says things like so it says 95% water. So you know, then it says urea, which is 2%, and so that's actually used in like cosmetic products, right? That's
exactly
a lot of the cosmetic products that they say are anti-aging products. Is that?
It's because of the uric acid that they put on. Well, so if you use your own urine and you age it, you've basically got bespoke face cream. And I thought, the ammonia is going to smell really badly, but I basically put in a jar, put some toilet paper on top, and put elastic band around it, and just put it in the sun. And after a couple of weeks, the ammonia burns off.
Right.
And when I drink it, it just tastes like woody. And I just thought, one, I'm Chinese, so I'm used to drinking weird stuff. And two, I've done ayahuasca, and it's not, it's not as intense as the taste of ayahuasca, so it's not that bad. And when I first started it, I think I was eating meat that week, and I was eating cheesy Watsits, so I didn't clean up my diet. I just literally peed. I thought, I'm going to drink it. And all they did was taste like salty broth. I thought, that's doable. So I've just been doing it ever since. But if you want to start properly, then they recommend that, you eat fruit, you drink clean water, like distilled water, ideally drink lots of water. And then when you drink it, it tastes like coconut, and it does actually. Because I've done that as well. It does taste.
Yeah, I've heard a few people say that. Yeah, I've heard a few people say coconut.
I think
and I use it for.
Sorry, go on. Carry on.
I use it for enemas as well. So I do a foot bath once a week to draw out all the heavy metals from my body, and I also use it for enemas to get rid of parasites in my body.
The first I first noticed it when I had an athlete's foot when I was like probably in my 20s, and I used to piss on my foot in the shower, and then it went away. And then
did you purposefully, was you like?
I just thought I think it's before the internet, but I think I'd like seen something about urine healing rashes or something like that, and I just thought, well, this athlete's foot ain't going away. It's not. What else can I try? And then, I thought I'd like soak it in that sort of thing in the shower. And after a couple of weeks, it went away.
And that's in the shower as well, so it's like it's diluted pee in it. And they say about jellyfish. Like I remember hearing about that. If you get stung by a jellyfish, pee on the sting.
I think that's a myth.
Is it? What is it?
Because there's a Facebook group called Urine Therapy, and it's all practitioners that do it. It's all around the world. And that was one of the questions, and they said, no, that's actually a myth.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good comedy scene, though.
If you have a deep wound, like you cut your
No, it's not working. Quick, carry on. I got now run out, man. Quick, fucking, excuse me. Do you need to piss? Do you need to piss? Like people running past. No, I'm all okay. Come on, I need someone to piss on my mate's leg. Quick, he's been stung by a jellyfish.
I need to keep this.
All right. So it says urea. There's sodium, 0.6% sodium, 0.6% chloride. There's sulfate. There's potassium, phosphate. There's creatine. Creatinine. Ammonia. Obviously, we know about ammonia, and the uric acid, which you mentioned. Calcium, magnesium. So it's interesting that.
And it's distilled water as well.
Yeah, distilled water. That's what they mean.
And it's energetically, it's passed through your body, so it's in the same. It's been through all your pathways, so it's energetically transformed into water that's for your body, isn't it?
Structured around your body.
So if you're coming to take it back in, it's already been, okay.
Like programmed for your body. Yeah. Wow. Oh, boy. You lot going to have me out here drinking my pee in the party, baby. Come on with it. Hey, what you drinking on? Hey, you don't know about this, bro. Yeah, you're looking young, bruv. Yeah, Yo. So, people out there that were talking about, oh, you're looking young. I can't believe you're 50. Yeah.
Well, I only just started 7 in September last year. So it's a recent thing.
Oh, right. Okay.
But my skin feels better because the sun's quite strong and I don't use any sun cream. Because I don't agree with the ingredients, and it seems to work for that. You know, it's just good for anything to do with if you've got skin damage, eczema, anything like that. It's really good for that. And I just find, like, I did a urine fast for 5 days once, and it was just so, it makes you so present with yourself, like, I am in the present. There's no other reality than I am in the present, and you just feel so clean. Your thoughts are clean, your feelings are clean. A bit like what you were saying about your ayahuasca experience. You know, it's like seeing all the components. But that was a bit intense for me.
It's just, I think, like, for me, the drinking the pee bit is just hard to. I don't think I can not make my belly squelch. You know, feel that feeling or like I want to puke.
But just start with a little bit.
Yeah. Like just start with a couple drops underneath your tongue.
Yeah.
That's what people do.
When I first done it, because my girlfriend does it all the time. She does it. She does it every day. She's been doing it for years, and she's done urine fasts and all this sort of thing. And she just said, just put a bit under your tongue and just leave it and then spit it out again. You know, that's the first introduction to it. Or just just things like putting it on cuts, or like I've done the. You know, when I had a cold once, I've done the netty thing with it, and it really burns, and it's it really does that, but it just clears it out completely. It just draws everything out when you do the netty thing with it. And then
the more you do it, the cleaner it gets. I find.
Yeah,
you know, like even if you were drinking it every day, the first glass might be the most punchy, but by the third glass, it just tastes barely of anything.
I think it's the water. For me, I think it's the water. More than like if you have lots of water, it gets really clean, and it doesn't matter so much as long as you're not eating absolute shit. But if you just have fruit, it is really, really nice. It's like honey, goes like really nice, like a really honey flavor. If you just only have fruit for a couple of days, and then lots of water as well, you know. But if you're just having normal food, it's not that bad. First one in the morning was always a bit strong, but like you say, as long as you drink a lot of water, it's not really that bad.
So apparently, I think it's
a case where you just try it and see. You know,
of course.
It's your body. It's an experiment, and
I've heard I don't care about the taste. I don't actually care about the taste, even if it is a strong glass. I don't. You can tell if you've had loads of bad food the day before because it's really strong.
Yeah.
And so like, oh yeah, well, I've just had some bad food. That's all it is.
Sineada's asked, can you overdo it? Is it possible you can overdo?
One fella said he wouldn't recommend looping, like pissing and drinking continuously, because it is a diuretic, so you'll constantly be peeing away your essential salts. So there's that element.
So it is a diuretic?
Yeah. You need to go to the loo. But for me, about an hour after I've drunk my own pee, I need to go to the loo again.
And so that will constantly keep happening.
If you do the looping, but the looping for me, I did it like I said to start cleaning myself up. So I was starting from, ground zero, so I could start again in terms of my energy. But now I haven't done it for a few months now. I think I only did it that one time.
Looping. And so I've often heard about like you can get, it's sort of like your body will purge. So people say they do it and then they got sick, but it's actually part of the healing. Is that right? I
haven't purged. I've noticed that my poos and my bowel movements great since I've been doing it. Like my bowel movements are great anyway, but I feel really complete when I go to the loo. Now that I'm using, just drinking a glass every morning. So there's that. And I think I do sleep better generally because of it. I just feel just like, the Ready Breck advert, and they had that outline. The younger,
you got the Ready Breck glow.
And I feel like that, like I'm protected in this, this urine energetic glow
It's
thing.
golden as well, isn't it? The ready break glow. It must be
Yeah.
the urine glow. Yeah, I mean, that's some esoteric shit they might be. No, I'm joking. But yeah, that's pretty. It's interesting, man. I think, yeah, like a lot of people are obviously gonna be like, I don't know about that, but yeah, it's known.
That's the last frontier, isn't it?
Been mentioned in scripture as well. Is that right? They've mentioned it in certain biblical scriptures.
In the scrolls, in the Dead Scrolls, they mentioned it, and all the ancient knowledge mentions it about the fountain of life. There's actually a book from the 1940s. It's quite a famous book, and they call it the fountain of life. I mean, my mum told me about it when I was little.
Yeah, someone asked, how did you first know about it?
My mum and dad were farmers back in Hong Kong. We were an indigenous tribe, so they always worked with plant medicine and all that. And when I was little and had really bad asthma, my mum said to me, if you drink my tea, you'll be better. But I I was 8 years old, lived in a chip shop in Manchester. I thought, no thanks. No thanks, Ma.
Yeah. Boy, she knew something then, obviously, and that was a sign there for you at the same time.
Well, I planted the seed and I had to wait until I was in my 50s before I thought, all right, Ma, I'll do it. But it was because there was a woman that I follow on YouTube. She does kind of like energy reports. She talks about all things spiritual. She's called Laurie Ladd. And she was saying that she just does it. And because I really respect what she says, I thought, okay, if she's doing it, I'm going to have a go. I literally finished listening to the podcast, went to the loo, peed into a cup and drank it. I thought, it's all right.
Yeah. There are a lot of people, yes. So you're a prime example, someone who's done it and you're fine, and you said that you actually felt better off the back of it. So there obviously got to be people that are skeptical and then mention the side of, because we understand both as being waste, they'll be like, okay, but would you eat your own feces? You know what I mean? But
it's not. I think that's what the mainstream wants to tell you, that it's waste, but it's not actually waste. Like I said, because like in the urine, there's the uric acid, But the uric acid, they collect it from men's toilets and also from horses in order to make interface cream and stuff. And we naturally have got this. And also, don't forget, if we were taught from an early age this is actually fountain of life, and we were drinking it, there would be no need for pharmaceuticals because it's such a strong detox. The fact that it releases heavy metals, the fact that it can repair your cells. And I did have a break. I was doing it, and then I think in January I just stopped all my practices for a month because I thought, let's just see what happens if I don't do anything. And I did feel worse, and now I'm back on it. Yeah. It's not like I feel like a Duracell rabbit or anything, but I just feel buoyant. I just feel well in myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of old, fountains, sculptures and that of, children peeing, and you see the water coming out of the fountain. Apparently that's all linked to it in some form or way. So
probably.
People should really think about,
There's not any statues of people doing poos. So.
Nah. Well, yeah, gladly not. But I mean, there might be.
You can tell.
Scenes,
you can tell. The poo smell. Whereas we eat a fresh, healthy diet. It barely smells of anything. It looks almost clear.
Yeah.
So you
can see lots of decayed things.
Yeah.
Lots of decayed things look like poo. Poo looks like it's decayed matter. So even leaves, when they're all old at the end of autumn, when the leaves are falling, they all turn brown and break down. So poo is the color of something breaking down, whereas wee is golden when it's good.
Yeah.
Golden brown. Sometimes it can be orange though. Some people, you lot need to hydrate, man. Like stay hydrated, my beloved. You lot with that orange pee, man. Jeez, you better know something's going on when the lips will drink some water, man.
But even my dogs, like when we go walking, one of them pees, the other one drinks it. Animals know instinctively that there's something about it,
Animals drink it. Jeez. And so they're there, as well as all these vitamins and minerals, they're stem cells. in the pee as
And
well.
that's how why you age it. That's what, if you age it at least 10 days, that's you start generating the stem cells, and the stem cells can generate like some ridiculous amount from 0 on day 1 to something like 10, 100,000 or something. Some, mad volume in just 10 days. So that's why the longer you leave it, the more potent it becomes.
And stem
the more
cells.
potent it is, the less it smells of pee. It just tastes earthy. And you can actually taste the fat. I can taste my own fat in it.
Wow. And stem cells are said to basically sort of help regenerate any area that needs it. So, that's why a lot of people say, obviously, about putting it on your skin. It gets rid of the blemishes.
But it's muscle repair as well. Like if you have the wound, internal organs, it regenerates the liver.
Yeah.
Sorts out the kidneys. Mr. Sovereign said, it's funny how people don't want to... Martha Sovereign said, it's funny how people don't want to drink their own fluids, but I find with drinking other animals.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly. Good point.
Very cocktails. Now people are going to be Mr. DJ Protrax.
Topsy-turvy, remember, everything's topsy-turvy in the modern world. Everything they promote is good. Drinking, convenient food, bread, all that is actually, and sugar is actually absolute shit for our bodies. Whereas as natural, as raw, drinking your own pee, all that, and being peaceful, it's not sexy. If everyone's just peaceful and happy in themselves, nobody would go to war for the government, isn't it? It'd be like, fuck that for chickens, I'm staying in. I'm aging my urine, thank you very much.
I've got work to do out here, man.
Yeah.
Try and get this ammonia smell out my backyard, man. Hush. Yeah, that's crazy, man. So Sinead's asking how long to get clean, though. She's eating ice cream right now. So
everyone's different, and it also depends what your diet's been like. How long have you had a certain diet? Have you got physical health problems? And like I said, what you like mentally, emotionally. But it's like you can't sort everything out in a month, let's say. It's just slowly pick a point in your life and just make the small changes, the changes that are just doable. Don't be so ambitious, because if you're too ambitious, it's not going to work. Just drink more water and drink more water for 21 days, because in 21 days you change the neural wiring in your brain. It becomes a new habit.
21 days.
So start small like that, and one change will lead to another change, and before you know it, a few years have gone by, you're drinking your own urine and thinking, what's your problem, man?
Everyone in the chat, we'll have you all on it at some point. Yeah, you'll all be looking back at this day and thinking,
golden shower.
Why you take a little sip? Like,
will be in
your don't know what I was worried about.
The fact that we're talking about it now. Even 2 years ago, I would not have even entertained it, and it would have been harder to. It is actually still quite hard to find the information. Like when I look on YouTube, I have to go through the links in the urine therapy group, because YouTube just won't give me any information.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's still not that easy. And equally, like one of my friends, the one I've known since I was 13, I told her about it, and she said, "Well, what works for you?" And she's like, she's plugged into that, the other life. She's not interested in anything I do, but the fact that even people I know in the different worlds are like, whatever, if it works for you. At some point, all this will come together. A few years ago, Reiki was, again, women of a certain age with Kafgans, but now everybody knows about Reiki, and they even offer it in hospitals. They're looking for Reiki practitioners in one of the hospitals. So it's all slowly, everything's coming into the mainstream awareness.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. I think, it's it's definitely one of them things you got to dig more into to understand it more if you are going to go there. And obviously, because of the fact that it's looked at as waste, I think, and that could be part of an inversion, you know what I mean? Like the fact that it's all done in the same place. And like you said, though, there are urinals where it's done in a way where they could be just collecting it all. For real.
They are collecting it all because it's cheap resource for these big beauty companies, drug companies.
Otherwise, where would they be
they
getting
go
the
to
urine
festivals,
from?
getting it. Yeah.
Oh, it's from the festivals. Yeah, but ain't they? Yeah, that's jeez, man. Now let me
Well,
have to
because
start
then they must
investigating.
clean it.
Mice
They must
investigates
break down
urinals.
they break down the wee, so they just get the acid in the laboratories, whereas we just drink the whole lot and let our body take care of sifting it all out.
The human filter. Mice investigates urinals. It's coming to a cinema. It's coming to a cinema near you.
There's a whole movement in India. In Kerala, if anyone's interested, South India, there's a whole movement, Shimbavu therapy, and it was written in their scriptures, in the Bhagavad Gita, I think it is.
About urine therapy. Yep. Look, man, I'm telling you, there's something there. You know, Dan's been on it. You know what I mean? I think we're going to have to do an episode where Dan drinks his own pee.
I soak my hair in it.
And then we find out if he's back here. You soak your hair in it?
It's meant,
yeah.
If he's back here.
It's great for his hair. It makes it really soft and strong and shiny.
Yeah.
Wow, man. We are our own medicine. Imagine that.
Yeah.
So the reason why I listed the nutrients in it is I was trying to figure, is that actually, are we, is it the fact that we've eaten foods containing these nutrients why it's coming out, or is it being produced by us? Because the stem cells aren't coming from any other outside source, are they? Because the stem cells are for us. So if we're producing stem cells and they're being, I don't know whether flushed out is the right word or not, but they're coming out with all these other nutrients, with
it's like you were
filtered
saying
water
about
as
the
well.
sea moss. It's the quality will depend on your diet, innit? I think that the baseline is, we naturally create these nutrients, but then the potency of the nutrients, the efficiency, depends on each individual's diet. What we're putting in, we'll get out.
Yeah,
I mean, the urine therapy said even if you're eating just a bog standard Western diet, lots of fats, lots of processed food, lots of meat, it's still good for you to drink your own urine because of these minerals that you just don't get in food nowadays, because it's been all the food, even the vegetables are so highly processed. It's all GMO, it's still loads of pesticides, so it's good for that.
And they're saying that it's almost like the pee is in your body's intuitive, and so it creates all these, because it can read what's going on in your body, then it will create all these nutrients. Or I'm still trying to get my head around how that could happen, but it creates these nutrients, and then that's what flushes out. And so even the stem cells and that, if you drank them again, you drink your pee, then now those stem cells that have been made will, they'll go to that part of the body or whatever that needs fixing.
Also
programming. It's almost like it's been programmed.
Some things are broken down in different parts of the body, and then so they're not bioavailable at the same place, and it's not just all in your stomach where everything is like squeezed out, and then or in the gut. It's all so sometimes there are other things that pass all the way through the body, and in the last process they're turned into their constituent parts. You might get the magnesium salts, or you might get the vitamins that have been say someone's taken vitamin tablets, and because they've got because they're in tablet form, they're not actually able to be absorbed by the body, but they come out in the piss, because the piss they're broken down in the liver, and then they're turned into or whether they're broken down and they're turned into bioavailable vitamins, then you can ingest them again and then get the actual benefit of the vitamins. But when it's just a tablet, you're not getting the benefit of it, because your body can't really break down the tablet at the beginning stage, So there's little things like that. Bits and pieces are only revealed as they pass through the body, and then they're available at the end. You know, the same as those. Have you seen that coffee that it passes through the civets? I think it's in Vietnam or something.
Some squirrel or something.
Yeah,
like that,
so they eat the actual bean,
Oh, yeah.
and then it passes through. But
Yeah.
it's the harshness of the acid
Enzymes.
in the all the breaking down processes in the civet's stomach and gut, then break it down and make the bean available at the end. You know, so they eat all of the shell. So it's similar sort of process.
So, Mr. Green,
I'd
out
say,
there,
I don't know. That's
there are
what I
people
think.
out there drinking shit, basically. You know what I mean? And that's just to get to work and do. You know what I mean? They're
You'll
pouring
drink a squirrel
that
shit.
coffee. Yeah,
you won't drink your own piss.
Yeah, you drink a.
What's wrong with you?
You drink a squirrel shit, but won't drink your own piss, man. See, that's how deep it gets out here, man. That's amazing.
My auntie actually used to use the pea to grow her vegetables and fruit because of the nutrients. I forgot about that.
Wow.
So that's what you use it for as well. I remember my favourite auntie in Billericay.
And wouldn't people, you know, I remember reading about how people discovered sort of, you know, how to grow vegetation. It was because where they went and pooed, you know, and the seeds and all that dropping out, that all of a sudden shit was growing.
I don't
Literally.
know. But it sounds about right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's a whole nother story. I don't think we'll ever probably do that on YouTube. We might have to do that on the old Odyssey. Shout out, yeah, big up Dan, man. Dan DNA was going in on how good Odyssey is, and I think he's right, man. You'll be able to stream on there now. So I think, yeah. And what I like about it, man, even when you got it on the phone, if you put it on, you know, full screen, and then you want to go to another app, then it'll have a little pop-up window, so you can still function on your phone whilst the video is
Unlike
playing.
YouTube. It
Unlike
just shuts
YouTube,
off,
you know what I mean? So I think we might have to make that switch. It's open source. Remember, we were talking about open up your sources last week. So yeah, make sure you lot subscribe to our Odyssey channel. We're going to start putting all the links in the descriptions as well, man, because we get a little bit lost sometimes.
Yeah, we need a
This
drive.
I've
to
got to
get
go.
there. You got to go.
Yeah.
My
I
doggies
know.
need-
That's
my
what-
doggies need feeding.
I know, that's why I was wrapping
All
up
right.
now, because I didn't want, you know, I could tell that the dogs were like, yo, she ain't coming, bruv. No, I can't hear. You know what I mean? So, Anuka, man, really appreciate you coming through and sharing your story,
Thank
telling
you.
us some shit we
Thank you
might
so
not
much
never
for
have
having
known
me.
about.
I
It's
know,
an
it's been
absolute
amazing.
joy.
Good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Lovely to meet you, Dan.
Yeah, you too.
And
Yeah.
lovely to see you, mate.
Yes, likewise, sis.
Yeah, it's been too long.
It. Good to see you're doing well. And we'll definitely catch up soon, man. We've got to do it
Yeah.
again at some point.
Yeah, come back and
Enjoy.
save me again.
Yeah. No, I think you'll be all right now, but we definitely I want to try and visit.
Right.
I definitely want to
Yeah,
try and visit,
do.
man. Mexico, it's free out there, isn't it? People ain't on the whole like.
They
Yeah.
tried to bring the vaccine over here, but no one was having it. They were like, "No thanks."
Nada
They
más.
couldn't give it away.
Oh, for real.
Everyone was like, "No, thank you, no, gracias."
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Please, some love emojis, flower emojis, fire emojis,
Oh.
whatever you can.
Piss emojis, anything.
Pissy, yeah. Urine emojis, whatever you want. For the lovely
Thank you for
Anuka
your
Yau.
help, everyone. It
Make
was
sure
an absolute joy.
you follow her.
My heart is full.
Yes, no, appreciate it. We appreciate you coming through and sharing your time with us as well. You go and attend those dogs.
All right, I'm
Let
off
them
then.
know we love them
I'm off to
too.
give them some of my pee.
Yeah.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right.
You
have
too.
a good day.
Have a
Ciao.
good night.
And you.
Thanks.
See you
Thanks a
later.
lot.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Hasta luego.
Hey. Mañana. Yes. That's right. So you can follow her on Instagram. Where is the button? That's Anuka Yau right there. What a journey, boy. What a journey, mother lovers. That's what we're talking about right there, man. Some shit you might not never know nothing about. I apologize to any of the squeamish mother lovers out there who couldn't handle the pee talk, but you know, this is what we do here, man. We got to talk the talk that they don't want us to walk. You know what I mean? I want to give a shout out to everyone who came through. We're going to make sure Mr. Green says she's off to get pissed. Hilarious, man. You lot with the pee jokes. Squirting. Oh, man. Yeah, that was very interesting, man. You know, I think a lot of people out there got to understand you can heal yourself. Don't be afraid. Just look out for more information. You know what I mean? Ask the people that you think might have some more of that information, and I'm sure they can help you. You know, it's time to start building up that catalogue of information.
Yeah,
because,
that's the main thing to understand is that there's lots of different things out there that you don't have to go to the doctor about. Like, go to them when you get your leg cut off in a bloody accident at work.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to them for headaches. Don't have to go for them for stomach pains or for, well, we've just seen even
rashes.
cancer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know, so it's just we're only trying to help everybody sort of understand there's other things to explore out there that you could put. You know, try all these things before you try the other thing. You know, don't discount any of these things because they've been around longer than the other thing than the doctors.
Health freedom. It's all about health freedom, man.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you know what I mean? Like the freedom of being able to choose what works best for you. And, you know, like the story we heard about intuition, like a lot of us have got it, you know what I mean? And if it's what feels like it feels right to you, if it's what feels right to you, feels like it makes sense, then by all means you should be able to have the freedom of choice to be able to say like, yeah, this is what I want to do for myself. I think this will work, whether anyone else, you know what I mean, cares or not. And also, now that we're understanding more that they haven't proven any type of pathogen or whatever floating around in the air, that gives you more freedom to understand like it is down to me to keep myself. It doesn't matter who's coughing or sneezing around me, as long as that I'm keeping myself at a good, you know, level of balance, homeostasis, as they say, you know, some form of optimum health, then I'll be cool. Do you know what I mean? But there might be a time I need to purge. Just think about like how much shit we breathe in the cities anyway.
Yeah.
Like when you're walking past them big engines and all that, and you can smell the fumes, like that's going in your lungs. Yeah. There's going to be a time that you need to purge that out. And it just so happens that the body's creative enough, you know what I mean, and magical enough that it will choose a time to purge that out. And that's usually when the weather's a bit switchy, you know what I mean, hot or cold. So I think like it's logic. There's logic there to that. And it happens to everybody, you know, especially in, you know, us scrunched up in little estates and all that, and, you know, in the city and whatnot. So it's all making sense, man. It's all making sense, mother lovers. Anyway, it's about that time, though. You know what I mean? You got any last words for them, D?
No. But Mr. Green, who goes to the doctors for headaches? Migraine. Loads of people go to the headaches for migraines. Who goes to the doctors for headaches?
Yeah.
Loads of people.
Yeah, a lot of people
surprised.
do. Yeah,
You'd be surprised how often people
hypochondriac
go to the
heaven, man. Yeah, man. But yeah, so then the other thing I think is people that do argue it, you got to remember, like people like us have looked at both sides. We looked at everything you're looking at and then everything we looked at. So until you do that, really, the argument is kind of never going to be a true argument. It's going to be like, you know, a lot of presumptions and, you know, kind of false claims and, you know, what's the straw man shit where they just go, oh, would you sleep with somebody with HIV then? You know, it's like, oh, okay. Right. I say yes, then you go, oh, you're crazy. Then I say no, you go, see, that's what it's like. That's not really part of what the argument's about, you know what I mean? So we got to be a bit more intelligent than that. But yeah, love to all the fam that were locked in. Boom Bap Sorcerer, Mr. Green, King Chico, Tempest Elixir, Regantology, Martha Sovereign, Liz Williams, Sinead. You know what I mean? A lot of love out here, man. DJ Pro Tracks, always. Where's your more, man? We didn't see you more this week.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure should be about. Robbie Love, big up. Salute IBMCs, probably logged off because we was talking about drinking pee a lot. By the time. Nice one, JM. Love for coming through, all the famalam. And shout out to all the, you know, silent listeners. Make sure you subscribe to all the streaming
Yeah.
Jugglings.
For your we put the podcast up pretty much every weekend after the show. So
Yeah.
go and get on iTunes or Spotify. I think a lot of people go on Spotify and listen again. Leave comments if you can. Say something horrible if you have to. I don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It all helps. Mr. Green, if you're in an enclosed space, you can definitely catch an airborne virus. Okay, guy.
Is that what he said? He's like, you definitely can. Like, there's full stop. Right, that's it. That's all right. Prove it.
King
Prove
Chico
it.
is going to be at Park Jam.
Yep, that's it. See you on Monday, 1st of May. Going to be down there at Sparfields for the Park Jam Breaking Convention. 10 years of Breaking Convention Park Jam, 20 years of the Breaking Convention in, you know, as it is. And then it's also 50 years of hip-hop, baby.
Yeah.
We got to do a special for that. 50 years of hip-hop.
Yeah, when is it again? The actual date?
I think it's August the 11th or something like that.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's something like that. 118. Yeah, we'll get into all of that one day. Some shit you might not never know nothing about. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we got to go, man. You know how it is. That's Dan DNA. My name's Mice Diggy. This is some shit you might not never know nothing about. And guess what, bitches and bitchettes? We're out.